Hello, everyone, and welcome to yet another episode of the Blind Side Podcast. I'm your host, Blind Metal Gamer, and tonight I'll be talking with you about Ghost of Tsushima for PS4. It was released on July 17th of 2020 and is out now exclusively on PlayStation 4, and it goes for a MSRP of $59.99 for the regular edition and $69.99 for the deluxe edition. You're probably wondering, what is the difference? Well, with the deluxe edition, you get some dies, you get a skill point, you get a couple other things, and with the regular edition, you just don't get the skill point or whatever's in the deluxe edition. And I believe there's like an art book or something too that you get with the deluxe, but again, I didn't get that version. I got the regular version, so I'm going to mainly focus on that, and I'm going to focus on the accessibility of Ghost of Tsushima as it relates to players with disabilities, and I'm going to talk about the overall fun factor of the game as a whole. Now, you're probably wondering, Blind Metal Gamer, where are you going to begin? I'm going to start with the game itself. You play as Jin Kasai, and you are tasked with defending your home island, the island of Tsushima. This takes place in the 1300s in feudal Japan, and you are one lone samurai against the Mongol army, and your father basically dies, so you want to avenge him. So you start the game off, you do some horseback combat to get familiar with the basic controls. Then they put you in a situation where the Mongols take your katana, and you have to go around with a girl named Yuna, and you have to sneak and get your katana back. Once you get your katana back, you learn about parrying and blocking and attacking from your uncle, and this is going to come in really handy when facing off against Mongols. And one cool addition to the game is the dual system. You just hit up on the D-pad, and you basically can just wreck shop as far as enemies. So if you come up against a group of Mongols and they decide they want to gang up on you and you challenge one to a duel, you can thin the herd that way by doing that. Now, you're probably wondering about how all of this would relate to accessibility. Now, you also get different stances, different abilities. After you get past the first act, you really start to gain these things. And one of these things you gain early on is called the guiding wind. And it's just a gust of wind that points you in the right direction of where you need to go. Now, accessibility wise, when it comes to this, it's good in concept, but I think what they should have done in the accessibility options, which by the way, the accessibility options ever since the 1.5 update is good, but there is one thing that I'll touch on in a little bit that they should have added or they need to add. So if someone at Sucker Punch Productions is listening to this, hopefully you'll take what I say here into consideration. Yes, I am a gamer, and I am legally blind. I have no vision in my left eye with partial vision in the right eye. And I feel that either a navigation assistance via the left analog stick via L3, or a different color cue for the guiding wind, a brighter color, or a totally different audiological cue would have been good additions, or would be good additions if you choose to put these in your game via patch. Another thing that I feel needs to be done to improve accessibility is a menu reader. I know I've kind of beat this horse into the ground, but after playing The Last of Us 2, I mean, come on, there's no excuse. This should be the gold standard. A menu reader that would read not just the main menu, not just the options menu, not the accessibility menu, but the whole spectrum of menus, be it skill trees, be it dialogue things that you get, anything like that, be it scrolls, be it whatever, it would read it. There's no excuse for not having that. And then, let's see. As for combat, combat is brutal and fluid. The new 1.5 update added less intense combat. That way, if you are a person that has, like with me, who's visually impaired, sometimes those combat scenes can be a little overwhelming. And yes, that less intensity combat does help because it makes it where the enemies are not as intense to beat. It's not easy. It's not something that's easy peasy squeezy by any means. It's still a challenge, and they can still wreck your ass, and they can still tear you up. But it just makes it where it'll modify it. Where let's say you're healing, they won't attack you when you're healing. If you're fighting a brute, then that brute will not. It can be interrupted with a heavy attack. Just a lot of different things to really help. I like the idea of them including visual cues for arrows and projectiles. That really helps. And another thing that I like that I really wish that they would have made this an accessibility feature and not a skill was the focused hearing. I started using that in my last playthrough, and I'm going to be honest, I like the concept, but I wish they would have made that accessibility. Instead, it's a skill that you have to upgrade and improve over time, and to me, they could have swapped that skill with something else, maybe with a parrying finish or something. You know, that focus hearing should have been an accessibility thing. But maybe Ghost of Tsushima will listen to this and they'll take it into consideration. Then, let's see. As for, let's see, they got large text, subtitle colors, vibration, which is good. Vibration is used for if you're in the wrong area. That's great because you can feel the controller vibrate. You got to get back to the right area. Let's see. They have the visual indicators for arrows, which is good. They have the large text, which is great. They have different subtitle colors, which is amazingly good. But we need that menu reader. And I'm not trying to make this into a advocating podcast, because it's not. This is mainly about the game Ghost of Tsushima and how to make it better and make it more accessible. There needs to be a menu reader, and I feel that Sucker Punch Productions has the capabilities and the money to make this happen. There is got to be a way. Come on, Sucker Punch. Give us blind and visually impaired gamers the menu reader that we want for Ghost of Tsushima to make it accessible. And then maybe it could read, like when a tutorial pops up, read that aloud too, so that way we know what to do. Just common things that can make it accessible. I'm not saying the game is not fun, because it's a blast. I mean, hell, when I was streaming it over on Twitch, not this weekend, but the weekend before last, I was having an absolute blast. I was gonna, go for almost 4 hours on that thing. I mean, it was that intense. It was that good. I'm just saying, make it more accessible to more players. That way more people can experience the greatness and the grandiose that is Ghost of Tsushima. Now, speaking of Ghost of Tsushima and gameplay, there are two ways to approach combat in Ghost of Tsushima. You can be the honorable samurai and face your opponents face to face, and man up as I call it, or you can be the dishonorable ghost, and you can totally wreck shop from behind and be stealthy. Now, if you are the dishonorable ghost, the enemies will learn to fear you, and they will learn to, cower in fear when you approach. And as for the samurai, you get different abilities, different stances for different enemies. So you have a stance to do with sword-wielding enemies, a stance for brutes, a stance for shield wielders, and a stance for spear wielders. So this really does diversify the combat even further, although I've seen it, but I've not experienced it yet because I'm not that far in the game. The farthest I've gotten up to is where you get the horse, and I'm having to save Taka, the blacksmith, Yuna's uncle, and no, not her uncle, her brother. And I'm to that point, and when I get that done, I'll be at the point where I'll probably be able to get upgraded weaponry and all that good stuff. It's going to be great. And then we will really get to hammer down the thing on that. Now, as for any flaws to Ghost of Tsushima other than the lack of accessibility features, I really can't think of any. The combat is tight, the controls are tight and responsive. The game does, in a way, have ideological cues from the enemies, but still, I would prefer maybe a form of a lock-on system. Maybe add that in there as well, along with the other accessibility features. Just to kind of give you some clarity of what you're doing. And then, let's see. Then there's different armors, and these armors aren't just cosmetic skins. These armors actually have different degrees of stats. So, for example, you could get an armor set that helps your samurai skills and increases those, and or you could get a armor that increases your stealth skills and your stealth capabilities. So that's awesome. Again, more diverse gameplay, which, in my opinion, is going to help pad this game out and make this game the best it can be, and a very good swan song for the PlayStation 4 and the current generation of PlayStation consoles. And then, let's see, is there anything really negative to Ghost of Tsushima? I would say the only thing negative would be the stealth section. I wish they wouldn't have done that. They could have maybe omitted that altogether and just said to heck with that, and just given you the katana outright and made you feel like a total badass from the beginning. That's what I would want to see, or would have wanted to see personally. But I overcame that stealth section and I prevailed, so that's a good thing. And then, let's see, Ghost of Tsushima, other things that could be maybe added via future patches. Maybe different colors for your katana. Like, let's say you don't like the plain, traditional katana. You could get, if they would give us different, maybe cosmetic options for the katana, that would be awesome. I would definitely go into that, and I would definitely totally jam out on that too. Now, you're probably wondering, out there in podcast land, out there on Spotify, CastBox, wherever you're listening, why does this guy care so much about Ghost of Tsushima? Because it's only one of the greatest PlayStation 4 games of 2020, and we're in the back half of the year now, so, or fixing to be, into the more colder months of the year here soon. So, I'm going to go on and say it. I bet Ghost of Tsushima will be nominated or win Game of the Year. And I feel if they win Game of the Year for this, they need to bring this over to PS5 in some way, because it'll attract even more players. Let's see, and then they could maybe add some of those new missions or maybe some new features that wasn't in the PS4 version, as far as accessibility that I talked about earlier. Another reason that they might not have been able to do these great accessibility features is they may not have had the tech to do it on this console. But on PS5, I've heard rumors and kind of rumors through the grapevine that it's going to be super accessible as far as for blind and visually impaired players and whatnot. So, if that's the case, they need to bring their A game as far as accessibility on PS5. And yes, I will be owning a PS5, and I will be playing the games on it for everyone on YouTube and Twitch, and I will be talking about it here on The Blind Side. Now, lastly, before we kind of wrap up for the evening, I know this is a bit short and sweet, but I do want to say that Blind Metal Gamer is now on Instagram as of today. You can go to Instagram and follow me at Blind Metal Gamer. On there, you will see exclusive video updates, seeing my lovely face, and you'll see some photos, just random photos, and other cool stuff. So I think you'll like it. Again, that's at Blind Metal Gamer on Instagram, and you can also subscribe to my YouTube at youtube.com/Blind Metal Gamer. You can follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/blindmetalgamer, and you can follow me on Twitter at blindmetalgamer to take part in exclusive polls, for content, for streams, and much, much more. Also, you can follow me on Facebook by searching Blind Metal Gamer in your search bar on Facebook, and you will see the page pop right up. And be sure to like it, because I post YouTube videos, I post updates, and much, much more. So, with that being said, this has been tonight's episode of the Blindside Podcast. I hope everybody is staying cool and safe, and I hope everybody is having a great summer. In the next episode, when that does drop, I will be doing a another interview, hopefully, and it will be another KSB themed podcast. So I think everybody will enjoy that. It'll be a surprise. So, with that being said, I hope everybody has a great, great evening and a very good, good month of August and a good back to school and a good summer and all that. I'll see you in the next podcast. So long, everyone. Stay safe, stay cool, and peace out. And don't forget to play the hell out of Ghost of Tsushima only on PlayStation 4.